Good morning students. So in the previous class we studied about the binary search algorithm and the insertion of element into an array and deletion of element into an array that we had studied in the previous session. So in the today's session we are going to study about the two-dimensional array. As I already said that the two-dimensional array is a collection of similar types of elements of the same type with the two subscript or two index value. Okay, so here the declaration of two-dimensional array will be the same type, data type, then array name and the size. So here the size, the first subscript indicate that it is the row and the second subscript will indicate the column elements. Okay, so here if you are storing all the elements will be of type integer, then we are using the data type as int, then array name. Just I'll give any of the name 3. So here it means that so here 3 rows and 3 columns elements will be we can store in this. So totally we can store 3 cross 3. That is 9 elements can be accommodated in a two-dimensional array. So why it is calling as a two-dimensional? Because it consists of the two index value or the two subscript. Okay. So here whenever we are declaring any of the array, so here I have taken the example of int year of 3. It means 3 rows and 3 columns will be created. See here the rows will be created something like this: a of 0, a of 0 0, a of 0 1, a of 1 0 2. So here wherein a of 0 0 the first element will be stored, a of 0 1 second element is stored, a of 0 2 third element will store. Next a of 1 0, then fourth element, a of 1 1 fifth element, a of 1 2 then sixth element, a of 2 0 the seventh element, a of 2 1 eighth element, a of 2 2 the ninth element, like this. So the arrangement of arrays will be takes place. So already we have studied that. So array will be store the elements consecutive memory location. Array used to store the elements in a consecutive memory location. Consecutive memory location means so whatever the address it is taking, from that address it will take the next address itself. Okay, to store the next element. Suppose if it is taking 1001 for the first address, that is in order to store 2, if it is taking 1001 as the first address, then the next address 1002 itself it takes. It won't take other than. So here in two-dimensional array you should not be get confused that because it consists of rows and columns, the data will be stored separately. It is not like that. So even though we are using the two-dimensional array, the data will be stored in a memory location based on the contiguous memory location itself. Okay. So here in the representation of array in memory, there are two types of representation of array in memory. One is row major order and another one is column major order. Okay. So here the representation of array in memory will be takes place based on the two types. One is row major order and the another one is a column major order. Row major order means, so here it takes the value row wise. In a memory, it stores the value row wise. First it will store the first row values in a memory location, then it will store the second row values, then it will store the third row values. Okay. So here as a row wise it will going to be stored. So that type of storage is nothing but row major order. Again it is one of the important question. Okay. What is the memory representation of array as per the row major order or column major order? So here the formula, as you know that in one-dimensional array also we have find what is the starting the address of the array. So here also we can find it using the location of E of ij. I represents for the row values and j represents for the column values. I is used to represent for the row values and j is used to represent for the column values. Where the base address means the starting address of the one, and the w means, as I said, that it is the number of words in a memory, and here it takes the rows lower bound and the columns lower bound. Okay. So from the rows lower bound and column lower bound, we are going to calculate the address, whichever the location or whichever the element we want. So that is the row major order. For example, see in the row major order it will store the array something like this. So here suppose this is our array. So we have 0 here this is the memory address. This is how the arrangement will be there. Here of 0, 0 means this element. Here of 0, 1 means -2. Here of 0, 2 means it is the third element. Okay. So here in case of row major order, first it takes the first row values. That is, first it stores the first row values 2, -2, 3. So just imagine that this is the memory address. So where the elements will be stored. So here in the fourth, so next it will take the next row value, that is 1, 0, -3. So this is called the horizontal we are going to call as a rows, and this vertical we are going to call as a column. Already people know about this. So here of 1 means it is here it takes the second row values. After inserting the second row values in memory, then it takes the third row values. Third row values will be 2, 2 and 5. Okay, so this is what the row major order. So it is one of the type of representation of the array. So based on the row major order. Okay. In case of column major order, first it takes this first column. First it stores the first column. It takes, then it takes the next column. Then it will move on to the third column. Okay. The memory, how it will going to accommodate the value means first it will going to insert the first column values, then it will take the second column values, then it will go for the third column values. Okay, for example, so here first it will going to store in case of column major. So here first it takes the first column values. Which are the first column values? 2, 1, 2. That is 2, 1, 2 is the first column values. First that will be going to store. Then it will take the next column values, that is -2, 0, 2. Okay, so that is the second column values, and the third column values will be 3, -3, 5. So this is what the column major order. So here the formula remains the same thing. Only in case of the lower boundary, so it is taking the m means, so here it takes the particularly the column values. Okay, so this is about the memory representation of a two-dimensional array. So we studied about the one-dimensional array. What is one-dimensional array? Then what are the searching techniques we have? So linear search and binary search we have studied. Then we studied sorting. What are the different operations will be performed on arrays, and the two-dimensional arrays. So finally, in conclusion of arrays, so we'll come across the applications, advantages and disadvantages of array. So here applications of array. Application means users. Where and all we are using the array. Okay. So where we are using the arrays. So here, as you know that using this array, because it is taking contiguous memory location, so this array is used to implement the other data structures. Other data structures means we have linked list, we have heap, we have, okay, so then we have some other stacks we have. So that in order to implement other data structures, we are using this array. So it is also used in the mathematical vectors and matrices, in particularly in the mathematical fields. Okay, so those will means in the chemical fields, in mathematical fields, they are going to use this array much. So where they are using the mathematical vectors and matrices, because two-dimensional array is also known as a matrix array. So why we are saying that it is matrix array? Because the array storage will be done based in the matrix form, that is using the rows and the columns. So hence this will be used in order to implement the matrices in mathematical fields also. Okay. So next we have, so the next application is it is also used to create a database. Database means a software. Okay. So generally just you think that the database is nothing but collection of huge amount of data. Okay. So that is called a database. Why we are using the database? In order to create a software. Whatever the software it may be. It may be the ATM software. You people are using the ATMs now. So in that directly it is not operating. How it is operating? With the help of a software. Okay. So or even your smartphone. Even that smartphone will also have some software. Okay. Based on the software itself, it will going to be work out. So for all the softwares, in order to create those softwares, we are using the database. In order to create that database, we are using the arrays. So this is about the applications of arrays. So next will be the advantages. What are the advantages array? Because it is taking the contiguous memory location and it is also taking the linear data. It is storing the linear data. So here the number of elements, more number of elements, not only one or two. So here we can store more number of elements in an array. So data will be stored in contiguous memory location, so that we will not get much difficulty of finding the location of a particular location. Searching will be easier. In short, we can say that the searching is very much easier. Okay. So here these are the advantages of arrays. So next we have disadvantages. So here in disadvantage, so as you know that in a variable we can store only one data, but in array more than one data we can store. Means more data in just in one variable we can store. That is the advantage of array. So along with that advantage, we also have some of the disadvantages. What are the disadvantages means? So here the first thing is the size should be known prior itself. Okay, so means before using the array, we should know that what is the size of the array. For example, we should know how many elements we are going to be used in our program. Okay, if you are not knowing that, then how we can initialize the array? Suppose if I want to store 100 elements, I am initializing the size as 100. Means prior itself, predefined itself, I am knowing that. So I want to store 100 elements. Okay, this should be known. But in certain cases, it is not possible to know the size of the elements. So many things we can come across. Okay, so many cases we can come across where we are not knowing how much data will be required, how much data will be used here. Okay, so that is the disadvantage. That is the first disadvantage. What means? So here the size should be known in advance itself. In advance, we should know the size of the array. But that is very difficult in large programs and in order to create the big softwares. So it is a static structure. Static means whatever the size we are giving during the compiling. Already I explained this one. What do you mean by static and dynamic? Static means during compile time. Dynamic means during runtime. Okay. So already I have explained how it will be happen. So compile time means during compile time. So if I am declaring 100 as size, all the 100 locations will be here. Okay. So static means what happened? So during compile time, if I am declaring 100 as size, so all the 100 location will be created for that array. Okay. Suppose if I am not using that 100, just if I am using 50 storage locations, then what about the other 50s? It will be get wasted, is it not? Because it's a static memory location. So once we are defining the memory, it is fixed. So the changes we can't do it. If you want to do it again, we have to go to the program and then we have to change the size of this. Instead of 100, we have to give this 50. But when running, we can't change it. Okay. So in order to overcome that difficulty, what happens? So again, the array will create a disadvantage. Okay. So here, whatever the array will be there, so it will be created static so that the memory will get wasted. It is a static structure, so the size is fixed. We cannot change the size of the array during the execution. Okay. So hence the memory will be get wasted. That is also one of the disadvantage of this array. And insertion and deletion will be very difficult. Insertion and deletion means, so here as you know that the elements will be stored contiguously. Contiguously, the one after the other. The first here it will be stored, second, then third. Contiguously it will going to be stored. Suppose I want to add element in between. Is it possible? No, it is not possible. If I want to add my element in between, it is not possible in array. Why? Because it is taking a contiguous memory location. Insertion can be done only after that. Means only after giving the next value, next whatever the contiguous location will be there. So only to that it will going to add the element. But in between we cannot add the element. Even the deletion. Deletion, what we will do? We can remove the element only from the last, but in between or from starting, it is impossible to delete. So the deletion and insertion will be somewhat difficult in case of arrays. In order to overcome this disadvantages. In order to overcome this difficulty, one more data structure called stack came into an existence. Okay, because here we are having so many disadvantages of array. No doubt, it is having many advantages also. Okay, so we can store a lot of elements at the same time. So here it is providing contiguous memory location, which will be easier for us for searching the insertion and all. Okay, to perform different searching technique, to do insert sortings and all. The sorting and all will be easier. But along with the advantages, we also have certain disadvantages. What are those disadvantages means? So here the size should be known prior itself in advance. We should know the size of the array in advance. How many elements we are inserting, how many elements, using how much elements we are going to execute the task. But all the times the number of elements will not be the fixed. Okay, so before, in order to overcome these difficulties, so one more data structure has been introduced. So that data structure is called an stack. Okay, so here stack is also called as, it is also a collection of elements. It is also a collection of elements which will be stored continuously. So here it is also called as LIFO data structure. LIFO means last in first out. Last in first out. Stack is a collection of a similar type of elements of the data. So here we are going to store the collection of a similar type of elements. So but here it is the data structure which perform the storing of data in a last in first out manner. Last in first out manner means, so here we are going to be store the elements which will be accommodated in a last. Okay. Suppose I have inserted these 4 elements 70, 80, 90 and 100. Suppose if I want to store, remove the element, so first which element will be stored? So whichever it has been last in whichever the last inserted element 100. So 100 will be stored out the first. So that is the last in first out element. Okay. For example, it is something like you are arranging of plates. I know that I think you people have seen. Okay, while washing the plates, what we will do? So after washing, we used to keep. Okay, so again the next plate will keep on the top of that plate. Again the next plate we will keep on the top of the plate. So that is, it will create the stack. Okay, stack means the series. Okay, so it will be arranged. So while taking, we will not take from the beneath of the plates. Okay, so we will take from the top itself. Does it not means the last or whatever we have kept, so that only we are taking as a first removal. Okay, so that is called the last in first out data structure. So in this type of data structure, the elements can be inserted and deleted at the same end. The insertion and the deletion, because we have only one end. Okay, so with this one end itself, we will going to add the element and we are going to delete the element. From this itself, we will going to add the element, and from this end itself, we will going to remove the element. Okay, the insertion and deletion will be done how? Based on the last in first out manner. Whichever the last we have inserted, so that will going to remove first. Okay, so that is the stack. So here the stack will use the pointer called top. This is the top pointer. Whenever the elements will be added into that stack, so this top pointer will be get incremented. Means it will be pointed to the next. First, just imagine that if this stack is empty. Okay, so here we have a location. So here, suppose here the top is here. Suppose if it is incremented, so here it will become here. Suppose if some other element will be added, again it will be incremented and it will be come to the next location. Again, if another element will be added, so again this will be incremented. Means whenever we are adding the element, the top pointer will be incremented. Whenever we are removing the element, the top pointer will be decremented. Decremented means so decreasing by 1. Okay. So here we also have certain operations on the stack. It is also one of the important topic. What is stack and what are the operations on stack? Okay. It is most repetitive topics. Okay. So here we are also have certain operations on stack. That is here the stack function. So this is stack function. Stack function is used to indicate stack function. This stack function is used to create the new stack, because whenever before using the stack we need to create the stack. Is it not? Using the stack function bracket indicates function. Okay, so stack function, it is one of the operation of stack. So this stack function is used to create the new stack where we are storing the data. So next, the push operation. So the push operation is used to add the element into the stack. So this operation is used to help us to add element into the stack. Next we have a pop operation. So pop operation is used to removing the elements from the stack. Pop means removal of elements. Push means adding of elements into the stack. So here pop operation is used to remove the elements from the stack. Is empty function. So this is empty function operation is used to check whether the stack is empty or not. Because if the stack is empty, then only we can add the elements. If the stack is not empty, we cannot add the elements. Okay. So here this function will check that prior storing the stack, prior adding the elements, it will check that whether the elements, the stack is empty or not. If it is empty, then it will allow us to add the elements into the stack. If it is not empty, then it won't allow us. Next, peek function. So this peek function is used to return the elements from the stack. See, removing is different, returning is different. Removing means so completely that element will be removed from the stack. Returning means just it is sending the copy of that element to the user. Okay, the already element is there. Okay, just a copy of element will be given to the user for the operation. So that is the peek function. Then size function is used to know what is the size of the stack. So this function will check that what is the size of the stack. It returns the number of elements which has been accommodated in the. This is about the operations on the stack.